Daniel is in New York, but not as we know it. For someone who reads numbers into everything, the city is giving him a strange vibe.
Being in New York with all these huge skyscrapers, it's intimidating for me, and all the time I had this sensation that I'm being surrounded by nines. The number 9 is all around me. It can be a very nerve-wracking experience.
Seeing objects as numbers is something Daniel has grown up with. It can be a little distracting, but it's also something he can use to his advantage. Daniel is going to meet the chess hustlers, but he won't be playing chess. Instead, he'll propose a memory game.
Hi. Want to interrupt again? I'm Daniel.
He wants 5 minutes to memorize a board with 26 randomly placed pieces. And he's offering $10 for every mistake he makes. It's an offer they can't refuse.
I was first having to imagine that it wasn't a chessboard but a sequence of numbers, and then I was experiencing the numbers as imagery.
Time's up, and the heat is on.
C6, D5.
They scrutinize Daniel's positions,
F5,
trying to find fault.
H4, H6.
That's right. I pretty much got it spot on. I think there was one piece I didn't put on the board.
That's pretty good for being a non-chess player.
And now for the hustle.
Do you mind if we take the pieces off and test one of you two guys?
Yeah.
Because you're pretty good chess players.
Well, like I said, I'm pretty impressed with you. I don't know if I can top you.
Would one of you
Maybe my friend would like to do it, but I don't know if I can. Honestly, I don't know.
We can give you as much. We can give you an extra few minutes if you really want to study. And...
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
The other guy, the chess hustler, I take my hat off to him. He was game. He went for it. He did it. I was actually impressed, personally speaking. He did better than I thought he would do.
F5.
I think he made 9 mistakes.
H4, H6.
For me, that's amazing.
All the pieces that you remembered in the right order.
If he's not experiencing the pieces in any distinctive way, and yet he's able to do that, it shows that raw memory is really good.
If you're talking memory, though, there's one man who's in a league of his own. He's the world's most famous savant, and Daniel's next stop en route to California. Daniel's next stop is the one he's been savoring. A meeting with the real Rain Man.
I'm looking forward to meeting Kim Peek because he's meant to be amazing. He was the guy that the Rain Man character was based on. This is really exciting for me because it's my first time meeting someone else with whom I have this bond.
Daniel makes his way to Salt Lake City's public library, where Kim and his father are waiting for him.
Hello. Nice to meet you too.
Let's walk down in here. We can have a short.
They head off to a quiet corner, where Daniel can find out more about Kim's stupendous memory.
Time they moved in there.
with total photographic memory. He remembers everything he's ever read. He can tell you every city in the United States, its highways and its area codes and its zip codes and its television stations and its counties and when it was made a state. The history of any country, all the rulers and when they served, presidents of this country, when they were born, their wives, their families, all of NASA's accomplishments, when they went up, when they came down, what they're doing. He can talk to you about the Bible. He can quote scriptures. He can tell you anything about it you want to ask him about. It seems like everything he reads, he maintains. At 9 months, the neuropsychiatrist said he's severely mentally retarded. He will never be able to learn. You should put him in an institution, forget about him.
But Kim was reading encyclopedias by aged 4 and had finished the high school curriculum by 14.
Goodbye, old pain. I'm a-leaving Cheyenne. You know that?
How fast can he read?
He reads a page that you and I would read in 3 minutes approximately. It takes him about 8 to 10 seconds. He reads the left page of the left eye, right page of the right eye, and remembers about 98% of it.
We'll go back through here.
Kim, my birth date is January 31st, 1979.
It was a Wednesday, and this year it's a Saturday. We turned 2044 on a Sunday.
What year did Queen Victoria become Queen?
1837 to 1901.
Kim, if Winston Churchill was alive today, how old would he be?
130.
And what day of the week would his birthday fall on this year?
It would be on a Tuesday, the last day of November.
In 1987, Kim met actor Dustin Hoffman and became the inspiration for the hit movie Rain Man.
We went to Hollywood the next morning, and Kim spent the day with Dustin and all of his film friends. And it was amazing, all the things they asked him and all the things he knew. It was just like I hadn't known him before. There were so many new things that came out of him.
Although I'm much older, you're still a fine man.
Thank you. So are you.
Yes, sir.
And he says you don't have to be handicapped to be different, because everybody's different.
There were all sorts of associations bubbling over in his mind.
No wonder you look like Mary Ruth Haslam.
It was almost as if he had too much information and he couldn't get it out quickly enough. His parting words to me were, we looked into each other's eyes and he said, one day you'll be as great as I am. And that was a wonderful compliment, and what an aspiration to have.
Before he encounters the scientists, Daniel is making one last stop. Inspired by Rain Man, he's in Las Vegas to see if he can use his amazing memory to beat the house. For someone who hates crowds and flashing lights, it's an unsettling kind of place.
I haven't actually been in a casino before. I play cards with friends sometimes. They don't like playing with me.
In blackjack, the dealer has the advantage. And even for a card counter, it still comes down to chance.
It was actually really hard to concentrate because the bright lights, the noise, the atmosphere, a strange mixture of tension and excitement, all in one.
Daniel is playing 2 rounds with 8 decks each. That's over 400 cards to keep track of at once. Round 1 is a disaster. Daniel's chips are disappearing fast. And memory alone just isn't giving him an edge. Eventually, he changes strategy and follows his instincts.
At the end, I was just relying on intuition and the imagery as it flowed into my mind.
At the most unpromising moment, Daniel decides to gamble.
The house had a 10, which is a very good card, and I was given 2 sevens, and that's not a good hand, and it's particularly not a good hand against a 10. What I decided to do was split the sevens, an unusual move, statistically speaking not the best move, but something in my head was telling me to do that anyway because of the imagery that I was experiencing, and so I split the sevens, doubled my bet, was given a third card, and it also turned out to be a 7. And at this stage I wasn't really sure of the rules of the game because this is the first time I've played blackjack in a casino, so I asked, can I split those two? And she's surprised, but she says, sure, if you want to. So she splits those, and so I now have 3 hands at one time against a 10. And the people behind me are tutting, and they're saying, what is he doing? You know, he's playing 3 hands against a 10, he's splitting 7s against a 10, he's crazy. And then she draws the remaining cards for each 7.